I'm 85 years old, and last winter my son looked at me in a way he never had before. Not with love, not with pride, with concern. He sat across from me at my kitchen table and said, "Mom, we need to talk about assisted living." I knew what that meant. I had seen that look in other families. It is the look people give you when they believe you are becoming a problem to solve. He tried to say it gently. He said it would be safer. He said it would give him peace of mind. He said I wouldn't have to struggle anymore. But what I heard was something else. I heard, "You might not be able to handle your life much longer." That night I lay in my bed staring at the ceiling and asked myself a question that terrified me. If I say yes, what exactly am I giving up? Because no one tells you what really happens after you move into assisted living. They tell you about the meals. They tell you about the nurses. They tell you about the activities. They don't tell you about the part that changes who you are. And if you are anywhere near this decision, you deserve to know the truth before it is too late to turn back. It did not start with a fall. It did not start with an ambulance. It started with small things. I got tired faster. I hesitated on the stairs. I dropped things more often. I forgot why I walked into a room. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make the people who love me nervous. And love, when mixed with fear, becomes urgency. My son began checking on me more. My daughter called twice a day. They meant well. They always mean well. But slowly I could feel something shifting. They were no longer asking how I was doing. They were evaluating whether I was still capable. That shift is subtle, but it is powerful. When your children start measuring your independence, you begin measuring yourself to. So I taught a place. Clean hallways, friendly staff, smiling residents, a calendar full of activities. It looked peaceful, organized, efficient, and that is when I noticed the first thing no one talks about. Everything ran on a schedule. Breakfast at a fixed hour. Medication at a fixed hour. Lights dimmed at a fixed hour. Doors locked at a fixed hour. Even fresh air had a time window. Structure feels comforting when you are overwhelmed. But structure becomes confinement when you are still capable. The first week after moving in often feels manageable. You are tired from change. You are relieved not to carry everything alone. Your family relaxes. They sleep better knowing you are monitored. But then comes the second realization. You are no longer deciding your own rhythm. When to eat, when to shower, when to step outside, when to rest. Small permissions begin replacing personal choices. And here is the part that hurt me more than I expected. No one was cruel. No one was unkind. But kindness inside a system still follows rules. The first time someone reminded me gently that dinner was over, I smiled. The third time someone told me outside hours were finished, something inside me shrank. You do not lose independence all at once. You lose it in inches. Now let me tell you the second thing nobody talks about, because it feels too personal to say out loud. You lose privacy in ways you never imagined you would miss. It is not just sharing a building with other people. It is the feeling that your space is no longer fully yours. Staff can enter. Staff can check. Staff can knock and still step in. Sometimes it is for safety. Sometimes it is for policy. Sometimes it is just routine. But when you have lived your whole life, closing your own door and choosing your own silence, even gentle interruptions start to feel like your life is being observed. And the strange part is this. You begin to edit yourself. You stop leaving things out the way you like. You stop decorating the way you want. You stop doing harmless little habits that make you feel at home because you start anticipating judgment or correction. You do not notice it at first. You just feel smaller. Another truth they do not advertise is emotional invisibility. Yes, you are surrounded by people. Yes, there are group meals and games. But being surrounded is not the same as being known. Many residents sit together but live separately. Conversations repeat. Stories are retold. The energy of the building revolves around maintenance, not growth. And if you have spent 8 decades building a life, maintenance is not enough. There is also a shift in how your family sees you. Once you are inside a facility, the narrative changes. You are no longer the strong parent who raised them. You are the one being cared for. That reversal is hard to admit. It does not happen because they love you less. It happens because the system quietly reinforces dependency. Now here is the third thing people avoid saying, because it makes everyone uncomfortable. Money changes the entire conversation. Before you move in, families talk about safety. After you move in, they start calculating. They compare options. They question upgrades. They wonder what is included and what is extra. They look at contracts. They look at monthly increases. And if you think money will not affect your dignity, you are wrong. It will, because money turns care into a transaction, and transactions always come with limits. Even if you can afford it, you may still feel the pressure. You may start thinking, I need to be easy. I need to be grateful. I need to not complain. Because the moment care becomes expensive, people unconsciously expect you to be low maintenance. And that expectation, even unspoken, can silence you. Over time, the biggest risk is not physical decline. It is psychological shrinking. When you stop making decisions, you stop trusting your own judgment. When you stop contributing, you begin questioning your value. And that is where many seniors fade. The biggest mistake people make before moving into assisted living is not asking one critical question. What problem am I truly trying to solve? Is it safety? Is it loneliness? Is it exhaustion? Is it fear of being a burden? Because those are different problems. And a building does not solve all of them. What changed everything for me was understanding that there is a middle path. You do not have to choose between total independence and total surrender. You can build layers of support, identify real risk points, install safety measures, arrange transportation, create check-in systems, share responsibilities among several people instead of one exhausted child. But I want to add something specific here, because this is where most families fail even with good intentions. They never create clear boundaries before help begins. So what happens is the adult child starts helping, and within a month it turns into monitoring. Then it turns into decision-making. And you, the older person, start feeling like you need permission to live your own life. That is why, before you accept help, you need one honest conversation, and it needs to happen while you are calm, not during a crisis. You need to say, I want help, but I also want control. You need to define what decisions are still yours. Your bedtime, your food, your routines, your visitors, your schedule. Because when boundaries are not defined, the most anxious person in the family becomes the one in charge. But most important of all, keep a role. When you stop having something to give, that is when life feels over. I realized I did not only need help, I needed purpose. The fear of assisted living is not only about losing a house, it is about losing usefulness. Once I rebuilt connection in my own community, something shifted. I was not just receiving care, I was exchanging value. And that exchange restored dignity. Assisted living may be right for some. Severe medical needs require structure. Memory loss requires supervision. But if you are still thinking clearly, still able to move, still capable of contributing, then rushing into a system may cost more than you expect. It may cost rhythm. It may cost autonomy. It may cost identity. I am 85. I cannot do everything I once did. But I can still decide who I am. And that is the line I refuse to cross without exhausting every other option first. If you are standing near this decision, slow down. Do not let fear architect your future. Ask deeper questions. Build support creatively. Preserve the parts of your life that make you feel like yourself. Because what really happens after you move into assisted living is not just that someone helps you live. It is that your life quietly becomes managed, And if that is a step you must take one day, take it consciously. But do not take it simply because it feels like the only choice. You still have more agency than you think. And here is the thought I want to leave you with, because it is the most honest sentence I can say. Safety without dignity is not peace. It is just a quieter kind of lost dot. So if you are planning this for yourself or for someone you love, do not only ask, will they be safe there? Ask, will they still feel like themselves there? Ask, will they still have choices there? Ask, will they still have a reason to wake up there? Because the goal is not just to live longer. The goal is to live like you still matter.